everyone, in this video I'm gonna talk about why I think that high testosterone is often overrated and why I think a lot of men are too obsessed about testosterone. And I'm also gonna tell you why I think this message is important. So let's start with that. Over the last 2 years, I've been quite active on Instagram, specifically in the niche of natural health and optimizing your health. And around me, I've seen a lot of accounts coming up talking about optimizing your testosterone and becoming a high testosterone man. Now, let me be clear that I do believe that testosterone is very important for your health and that optimizing your testosterone generally is a good thing. So, firstly, I'm happy that these accounts exist and spread information to the masses on how to optimize your testosterone in a natural way so that men can live a better life. However, what I have also seen develop is this idea that high testosterone is a necessity to become successful in life as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, or to be successful with women, or to be successful in the gym, to be confident, and that if your testosterone is not high, that you're gonna be a loser in life and you're gonna be weak and you'll never make it. Now, often this message is of course preached by people that at the same time sell a course on how to become a high testosterone man. So this should already give you a hint. However, what I've seen as a result from that is that men are coming to me and they're worried about the smallest things. They come to me and they say, hey, I was drinking this specific sort of tea and somebody said that it may lower your testosterone. Should I be worried now? Or somebody said that eating raw onions can increase your testosterone by 300%. So now I should be eating raw onions every morning. I think when you start asking yourself these kind of questions, things are getting out of hand and testosterone is being overrated. Now let me explain why and give some argumentation for this. So, as I said, sometimes the message seems to be preached that you need high testosterone in order to be financially successful or to become an entrepreneur, which is one of the things that is very popular these days. A lot of people want to be an entrepreneur, and let's be real, everybody wants to be financially successful. So let's just look at a couple examples. We can, for example, look at Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos from Amazon. These are guys that were all starting from the bottom and eventually became billionaires. They are the richest guys, some of the richest guys the world has ever seen. But when we look at their lifestyle, what do we observe? Firstly, we observe that none of them seems to be even thinking about testosterone. They're not working on optimizing testosterone. I would be surprised if they're even doing blood work measuring testosterone. We frankly don't know. But they never talk about it. It doesn't seem to be a big part of their life. Now, what we can also see when we look at their lifestyle is that it's probably very suboptimal for testosterone. We know, for example, that these guys are often under high stress. They're not sleeping very well. I know from Elon Musk that he regularly says that he sleeps about 6 hours a night. And I recently saw a picture from him on a beach or something, or on a boat, and I saw he was very fat. So he's definitely living a life suboptimal for testosterone. Steve Jobs, I know that he was following some sort of diet consisted mostly out of fruit and like raw vegetables. Definitely suboptimal for testosterone. So what we can conclude from just these three examples is that you don't need high testosterone to become very successful in business, financially wealthy, or to be an entrepreneur. Now, something else people would say is, well, you need high testosterone to have masculine virtues, to be a real man. For this, we can also just take a simple example. Let's, for example, look at soldiers, and let's look in particular at, for example, the soldiers that invaded France in World War II. These guys were probably under extreme stress, and in the days leading up to the invasion of France, they were probably sleep deprived, and they were probably on soldier rations, very suboptimal diet for testosterone. So it is very likely that when these soldiers were on the boats, getting close to the Nazis, trying to free Europe and show extreme bravery and heroism, that the testosterone levels were very low. And the same thing can be said about many other soldiers in history. You could, for example, think about the Crusaders. The Crusaders, they were traveling all the way from Europe to modern day Jerusalem, and they were probably living a very suboptimal life and very tired, exhausted. Do you think the testosterone levels were high when they were doing that? Probably not. Or the explorers, in the 16th, 17th century that were on boats trying to discover India or the Americas. These guys were going on sea voyages for weeks, maybe for months. And the diet must have been very suboptimal. Living conditions must have been quite grueling. And the testosterone levels were probably very low. But what they were doing, when we look at that these days, we would really consider it brave. They must have had a lot of discipline, willpower, perseverance. They must have been very hard men, very strong people, very, things we would consider masculine. But the testosterone levels were probably average at best. Now, what about gaining muscle though? Isn't it true that you need to have high testosterone if you want to be muscular? Well, of course it is true that bodybuilders, and in particular professional bodybuilders that use steroids, always seem to use testosterone in their steroid cycle, and that is one of the contributors to their muscle gains. But there are very impressive natural lifters as well that made incredible muscular gains, and their testosterones are not particularly high. I know, for example, from a guy on Instagram who goes by the handle the Golden Jarl, and he yearly publishes his testosterone levels. Now, when you convert the testosterone levels to nanograms per deciliter, you find that mostly it's around the 600, 700 range. And this is not considered low, but this is also not considered very high. Yet, this guy is one of the most impressive natural lifters I have ever seen online. Meanwhile, he's also a father of 2 daughters. He is married. He's running a business, so he's also an entrepreneur. He wrote a book, so he's also an author. And you can see again that high testosterone was not a necessity for him to be successful in all those different areas. Now, we could simply have known all of this using some common sense and looking at professional bodybuilders. Because a lot of them, when they are running steroids, their testosterone levels are extremely high. They are higher than we could ever reach naturally. Yet, are those guys the most masculine we've ever seen? Are those guys the most successful in business or entrepreneurship? Are those guys incredible at getting women better than anybody else? The answer is no. So, if testosterone would be this magic substance that would allow us to be successful in all those different fields, how come that guys who have incredibly high levels of testosterone often do not excel in any of those fields? Now, I want to ask you as well. If you think about men in your life who you admire, either that are still alive or from history, and you examine their life, are those men you admire, were they focused on optimizing their testosterone? Were they living a lifestyle that made them have high levels of testosterone? I would bet that a lot of them were not thinking about testosterone and were not necessarily living a life that was optimal for high testosterone. Now, their testosterone levels may not have been low. They may have just have normal or above average testosterone levels. But were they worried about drinking certain teas that was going to lower the testosterone? Or were they eating raw onions to just increase their testosterone? No, they were not. I would bet they were not. Maybe some of them were, but most of them, I bet they were not. So let me conclude there. The message I'm really trying to bring is this. Yes, testosterone is important for men, and you should definitely not have low testosterone, and living a life that is optimal for testosterone is probably going to benefit you. However, it does seem that if we look around us at all the examples we have available, that high testosterone is not a necessity for you to become an entrepreneur, to be financially successful, to be a masculine man that shows some masculine virtues, to become a father, to become successful in the gym. So whenever you see a message being preached on social media or from someone in your life that you need high testosterone to achieve those things, then they are simply lying to you, and they're probably trying to sell you something. Something important to consider is that the men that you look up to these days or in history, they did not achieve the things that we think are admirable because they were optimizing their testosterone, because they have high testosterone. We admire them for the things they were doing, for the way they were living their life. They were probably not worried about how every little thing in their life was influencing their testosterone. And they were also probably not using supplements or tools to increase their testosterone. They were just living life, focused on doing things. And for the guys that are worried about this testosterone all the time, I just think this message is important. Instead of worrying about your testosterone so much, start worrying about what you are doing with your life, the kind of actions you are taking, your moral standards, your purpose, your meaning, what kind of value are you adding to your life. And I think when you worry about that, you are spending your energy much more effectively, and you actually have more of a chance to become a very impressive man and add a lot of value to the world than if you are busy with your testosterone all the time. Now, I hope that message came through clearly. If you have any questions about it, just drop them down below. I did not mean to attack anyone with this video. And like I said, I'm not saying that you should never think about testosterone. I do think it's important. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe to see more. And I will see you later.